Hello Earth, welcome to episode 12 of season 2 of Making Cell, a series of videos where I record myself designing and implementing a programming environment called Cell. If you're just tuning in for the first time, I recommend you give a quick look to this link, which I will paste in the description, which describes the project, or perhaps jump to the first episode of the first season. We're going to continue where we left off the last session, which these are the notes from the last session, with the parsing issue. I honestly don't want to do the parsing. I would rather do something more fun, but I think it's important to at least give it a good shot to fix the two issues that we were having parsing. But just to motivate ourselves a bit more and remind ourselves why we're doing this, let's just look at what we have. Yesterday we were actually able to basically copy and paste stuff. I don't understand why I have this thing here. This is quite annoying, this thing. Anyway, hopefully we will not need it anymore soon. I'm really gearing to having everything here. So let's say we can just do we'll just do stuff like this. We can just paste it now into so. Yeah, just like that. This is JSON. It didn't work, right? Is it not valid JSON? Why they need parse to JSON? Let me just take a look. Yeah, why didn't it work? I guess I can just paste it here, right? No mysteries. Because it's not JSON, it's JavaScript, of course. It would be cool to take some JavaScript and evaluate it. But by cool, it would also be like completely, it could just get completely injected if we do that. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I cannot just take arbitrary JavaScript and run it. And to sanitize that is going to be very tricky, right? Yeah, I don't think we can do that, unfortunately. This does look like JSON. Yeah. This looks much better. Look at how you see the butters, the ID, the topping. This is working to me, like conceptually working. Okay, let's fix those issues with the slashes by writing two offending tests. Where do I write this? Well, one issue is in the parser, right? I want to remind myself of what was the original loop of functions. We have the path to text is just a way to output stuff. But let's just focus first on the other way around, the parsing. it would be the text to paths. Do I directly test the text to paths anywhere? Yeah, here. If I just have this input, an input with slash, and now would be within a quote, right? What was it? Yeah, just that. I expected here would be like this. It worked. Yeah, it worked. So that is working. So then, it's I think the one with the slash that wasn't working for the input. So let's just do that one. Let's just put a space here. Yeah. So text to paths. Yeah, it's at the bottom of this function. Yeah, because all the really the hard parsing logic is here, right? Yeah. You know what? Let's just buy the bullets and annotate this. It's easier to do it that way. So this function takes a message which is text and returns an array of paths. This This function takes a value that's either a number or text. If the value is a number, it just returns it as text, but without quotes around it. Oh, I forgot about this. Would this work? Let's try. No, we can always change it. If the value is text, here I'm going to put we know is a number or text, because these are we only pass to it path elements, which by design can only be text or number. That's the magic of for data, right? If the value is text, and the text looks like a number, can start with a minus, can have one or more digits before a dot, with a dot or no dot, and has a bunch of digits after that. We return it surrounded by double quotes. So we distinguish it as really text. So we can distinguish two from this. Otherwise, we return the text as is. That's it. This is already helping me. You probably are considering this to be pretty boring, but I need this. We will put the output paths here. Let's return paths, right, afterwards. Yeah, exactly. So it's basically we're seeing the story unfold here. A flag that tells us whether we are inside multi-line text. Which starts as false. If our message is empty text, we just return an empty array of paths. Brilliant. Okay, now the good stuff starts really. I'm already feeling better now. I don't know why I didn't do this from scratch. I guess you have to learn the same thing 15 times. We are going to split the message into lines. We are going to go through each of these lines and parse them. If we encounter any error while parsing a line, we will stop the iteration. Let's just do this in a different paragraph. Iteration, and return the error. We set variables for storing a new path that will go into paths. We copy the original line into original line, since we will modify line as we progress the parsing, and we will keep track of the last path already in paths. We want to keep track, make a reference to if we encounter an empty line and we are not inside multi-line text, we just ignore this line. This is useful in case we get a message that has empty lines in it, usually at the beginning or end. This is a good moment to remark that most of the complexity of this function is about dealing with multi-line text. Yes, I'm feeling much better. My heart was really sinking about doing this, but now I'm recovering understanding on my own code base. It's going faster than I thought too. Though I started too late today, but it doesn't matter. If the line starts with space and we are not excuse me, I have to sneeze. All right. Text. We deal with this indentation. If there is no previous path in paths, message is invalid because the first non-empty line of a message cannot be indented. You need to start at the leftmost level. We return an error and stop the iteration. We measure the length of the indentation we keep off track of how many matched spaces we've seen so far, starting at 0. Yeah, because here's the deal. We can parse both things with indentation and without indentation, I believe, right? Let me give you an example. No, that's not what I want. Maybe I can give you a simpler example. Which one is the one that doesn't return an error here? The first one. and I can make it unabridged. Let me show you what I mean. If I do here full yip2, it will still work. Yeah, see? Yeah. So you can do it abridged or unabridged. Indentations are for abridged for data, where, for example, an abridged would be full bar. One, and then just give two, like that. Good. We keep now I am trying to understand what I said here. Last path is always non-zero in length. Why would it be non-zero in length, last path? Because how could I have a path with 0 before? I couldn't, because if it was an empty line there would be nothing, and if it started with a space I would get the error that I just reported. So then there has to be something in that line. Yeah. Last path always will have length elements. If before there were no only empty lines, there would be no path element. And if there, no, I think that's enough actually. But that's a good one. Match up to. We convert B to text in case it is a number that requires it's really a text. Pass B through unparsed number in case it's text that looks like I wonder if it's a bit silly to do this. But no, it's not so silly because the line before, the path before is already parsed. You don't want to just rely on the length of the other line because you might have multi-lines and whatnot. So you need to really unparse things here. And here, when we deal with these slashes and literal slashes before a quote, my God, we need to take care of this stuff as well here in these paths. And therefore must be surrounded by double quotes. Because the whole thing is that I don't surround it with double quotes in the internal representation. Should I wrap it with the double quotes in internal representation? No, because then I wonder. I know this is unrelated to a slash, but it's not so unrelated. Hmm. I'm thinking. No, I think it's fine the way it is. I want the internal representation to use the type of internal representation for that. Although that begets the question of if I put quotes around it, a value, do I keep the quotes afterwards? Do I consider them to be literal quotes? Let me express my doubt here. For example, if I do this, foo bar 1, what do I get here? This is what I want. Not that. Yeah, it basically swallows the quotes. So if I quote something, this is a good example. Yeah, this is good. I'm okay with this actually. If I wanted to make it literal, I would have done it like this. Foo bar, no, sorry, it's forward slash. And then this would be foo bar 1. Wait, no, it would be foo. Actually, I'm not sure about what I'm doing here. As usual, would it be that? I guess I have to wrap it in this. Yeah, of course. There. Okay, there it worked. Yeah. So if you want to put quotes or stuff, you need to surround this by actual quotes. Yeah. It is reasonable. So basically the quote, the double quote, is necessary to do any of this funky stuff, like putting other quotes or multi-lines, right? That's what we need the quotes for. We need this so that the length of this path element is restored and therefore matches the matched spaces. To do when we unparse text with slashes. A slash and at the end we also need to unparse this for length. The +1 is there to match the space, to also match the space after the path element. Because what I'm trying to see here, and maybe I could explain it much better here, is what we need to do is to figure out how many elements of the previous path, of the last path, the indentation on this line matches, so we can copy those over to the new path. that's what we're trying to do here. That's why we need all of this. That makes it clearer, right? I guess that will go here. So therefore we know that match up to will return something. The moment this iteration over the last path stops, we will find either an index or an error. If at the end of, if by adding this element from the last path, the length of this element from the last path plus 1, we match the indent size, we return the index of this element of the last path. If we went over and matched more than we wanted to, the elements are not of the previous path are not lining together with those of this line. We return an error. And it would be more than we wanted to, because in the previous iteration it would have been less on the previous element, and on this element it were already over, so that there's no correct precise match. I guess we can do that too. This is a good comment. Yes, I'm feeling better now. Bam, bam, bam. And now, if we haven't found a match, we have more spaces here than length as text of the previous path. We return an error. And if the iteration returned an error, we just return it too. Man, this is subtle, eh? No wonder it took us first season to write this. But see how much faster I could have gone if I understood what I was doing with this. I need the tests, and I need the annotated source codes for this stuff. The tricky stuff has to be annotated. There's no way around it. Donald Knuth was right about that. Definitely, in my view, of course. So if we are here, we successfully cannot type anymore. We cannot. What's going on? We successfully matched our indentation with the elements, with some elements of the previous path. We make path to be a copy of the first of those elements from the previous path using the match up to index we obtained in the previous iteration, in the iteration we just did, finished. We chop off the line. Oh, look at that. We never tested that. I suspected it. We chop off the indentation of the line. We are done with the indentation. I like we can mix a bridge and a bridge too, and it will still work as long as you do it smartly. I mean, by smartly, I mean not inconsistently. Let's test for this. I feel better. Did I say it? Yeah, I probably said it like 7 times. But I do. My spirits were pretty low thinking of fixing this, and now it's going well. Indent. Let's just do this one. It would be full bar 1, and here I could do just full bar 1, and just give me a nice error here that I can copy paste. Yes. Let's make that add a dot too. Okay, better. Okay, now we tested it. Text. Okay, now we start with the fun stuff. Oof, 33 lines here. Yeah, 12 more. And 30 here. And that's pretty much it. Because that's it. This is very easy. Yeah, we're not gonna be done tonight. No, but we can still make progress. Don't be lazy. And this is an interesting function. The decoder, what does it do? yeah, it just basically deals with quotes. Dun, 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 dun. I did have the good fortune of picking a good record to work with. This function takes text and removes quotes from it to do explain what it does when I remember what it really does. The joys of is this really about working with computers? I'm not so sure. I mean, if we were diligent enough, we could just do this in our minds, right? We could compute ourselves. We initialize our output to keep track of start and end. These are indexes. When they are at -1, they mean there is no start or no end. That much I remember. This utility function replaces a slash followed by a double quote with just a slash. This is what we need to change. What we need to do is like a not, right? Not. No, there's no not. I can just do, of course there's a not. You can do a character class, a negative character class. Not for negative character class. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Not a slash. I need to escape it. Yeah, not a slash. Yeah, that should work. Um, Replace a slash followed by a double quote with just a slash. However, if that slash is prepended by another slash, it is considered to be, we can just do the double quote is preserved. Still, this won't change anything. Not this. I could just make it like that, I think. Why did it didn't work now? Why did I break this suddenly? Well, it seems to be breaking. Maybe I need to understand a bit more what I'm doing here. Um, does not escape the quote. Let's try to understand what the function this is really doing. We set a regex to find an unescaped quote. So basically, it's a look ahead, right? Yes, look ahead. What I could do here is this, actually. If it's not a slash, but how do I do the other slash one? Okay, let's just not do it now, but we need to change this one too, I think. Yeah, we need to change this one too for sure. Basically, this is saying, give me a quote Yeah, give me a quote that doesn't have a slash before. Yeah, we need to change this, but okay, now I get it, I think. I'm gonna stop at in 7 minutes. It's been a long day. On the one hand, you have your purpose, on the other one, you want to rest. It's an interesting tension we're dealing with here every night. What is this text we're talking about? So we pass, right? A text element from a path and removes quotes from it. No, it's not removing quotes, something else. If the text is this corner case looks a bit too weird to me. So and ends with two double quotes. Do we ignore the rest of the text? Start at 0, where the quoting starts, and end at 1, where the quoting, and return an empty text as text. some corner case there. If the text starts with a double quote, we set start to 0. If it doesn't start with a double quote, we find the first unescaped quote. I get it now. If we find one, we set that to start. And this crap, I did it because of this thing, yeah. Honestly, I don't even know if we need to do it with the regex. I think we could do it with the loop, and that would be much nicer, I think. People would be horrified, which is a plus. Yeah, I would do something like, I need to draft this somewhere. I would do something like that. They go, or the stop better, right? Text split on every character, and I would just do something like if C is, then I would say do something like like that. Return if I could just do something text split. If I split it and I do k minus 1 is it's not a slash, then I return k. Well, if it's not a slash, and if text split k minus 2 is a slash, then I return k2. So basically it's the case where they have a literal slash. This would work. Let's keep on annotating a bit more, but it's nice to have a solution, because then that I can already get rid of this ugliness of having two lines here because of the look ahead. And if I do something like it's just undefined, exactly, it's no problem. Wait. Yeah, perfect. I'm starting to understand what I did here, which is encouraging. The double, the if else is mandate that is required because of our look ahead in the regex. If we are inside multi-line text, if there is no quote, we set text to be the unescaped. We unescape the quotes from text, which was the unescaping of the quotes. Yeah. It basically gives you, removes the slashes. It would actually be called, better called unslash, right? Well, unescape, really. That's what unescape means, dummy. Good if you're escaping with a slash. I think this is a good moment to stop. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next session.